Okay, so this is the key to Chapter 6 Factoring Part A. So let's look at number 1. So number 1 says this. You have 18x minus 60x to the fifth. And so the first thing you always want to do is to see if you have a GCF other than 1. So I do have a GCF other than 1 here. It looks like I can factor out a 6. So the GCF here is 6x. So I get 6x times 3 is 18x, and then 6x times 10x to the fourth is so 6x times a negative 10x to the fourth is a negative 60x to the fifth. And I can't factor this factor right here. I mean, I can't do anything else with this, so that's the answer. Alright, so we're going to get, for number 1, we're going to get 6x times 3 minus 10x to the fourth. Okay, number 2, we have this trinomial. We have x squared plus 3x minus 10. So again, the GCF is 1. So if I factor as two binomials, I'm going to get xx. Alright, so the last sign is negative. Remember, these signs in here have to be different. And the possibilities for, I'm going to look at the absolute value of negative 10, which is 10. So the possibilities are 5 and 2, 10 and 1. Let's try 5 and 2. So remember, the last sign is negative, so that means that these signs in here have to be different. And the outer is going to be 2x, the inner is 5x. So the larger of these, so the 5x, will take the middle sign. So that's a plus, and that's a minus. And always check yourself. X times x is x squared. A negative 2 times a positive 5 is a negative 10. The outer is a negative 2x. The inner is a positive 5x. And when I add them up, I get 3x. So this is correct. So the answer to number 2 is going to be x plus 5 times x minus 2. All right, number 3, you have 5x squared y cubed plus 15x cubed y squared. All right, so the GCF here is going to be 5. So the GCF of 5 and 15 is 5. I have x's in both terms, so I'm going to take the one with the smallest exponent, so it's x squared. And then y cubed, y squared. I'm going to take y squared. All right, so that's your GCF. So I'm going to factor out the GCF, so 5x squared y squared times, all right, so 5x squared y squared times y will give me 5x squared y cubed, because y squared times y is y cubed, plus, and then 5 times 3 is going to be 15, x squared times x is going to be x cubed, and y squared times 1 is y squared. So I don't need to put that 1 there, because 3x times 1 is still 3x. So when you multiply 5x squared y squared times 3x, you're going to see you do get 15x cubed y squared. So that's your answer there. All right, so the answer number 3, is going to be 5x squared y squared times y plus 3x. Okay, number 4, you have 25 minus x squared. Now remember, this is 25 minus x squared, not x squared minus 25. Those have two different factorizations. So this is difference of two squares. You got to leave 25 first as it is. So when you factor, and remember you can always check to see if there's a difference of two squares by seeing if you can fill in these parentheses. So 25 is 5 squared, x squared, here I get x to the second power. And so I'm going to get 5 minus x times 5 plus x. So that's how you factor the difference of two squares. So I get 5 minus x, 5 plus x. So remember, the difference of two squares. So if you have the difference of two squares, like this, see how these look? Then the answer is going to be f minus l times f plus l. And you could have also said f plus l times f minus L. It does not matter. Multiplication is commutative. The order in which you multiply does not matter. Okay, so answer number 4 is going to be 5 minus x times 5 plus x. All right, number 5, you have this. Number 5, you have 2y to the 4th minus 128y. So 2y to the 4th minus 128y. All right, so the GCF here is going to be 2 and then y. So that's your GCF. So you're going to factor out a 2y. When you factor out a 2y, you're going to get y cubed minus 64. Y cubed minus 64. Now, see this y cubed minus 64? That is the difference of two cubes. You're supposed to recognize this at this point. So when I rewrite this, it's going to look like this. So y in parentheses times itself 3 times is y cubed. And then over here, what number times itself 3 times 64? You're going to get 4. So I filled in this parentheses. So that is a difference of two cubes. So when we factor this, remember we're going to think of this as this y as your as the letter f as the first, and then the 4 as the L. Because in the formula, remember in the formula we used f cubed minus L cubed. So remember the difference of two cubes. So that's going to be f minus L times f squared plus fl plus L squared. So that's how you factor the difference of two cubes. So now come back over here. Remember f is y, L is 4. So I'm going to get f minus L, so y minus 4, times, alright, so then in the trinomial, remember it's a binomial times a trinomial, in the trinomial, you're going to get f squared, so that means y times y, that's y squared, plus f times L, so y times 4 is 4y, plus L squared, meaning L times L. So if L is 4, 4 times 4 is 16. And always remember, if you had factored out the GCF here, this trinomial cannot be factored any further. So don't even waste your time. It is not going to be y plus 4 times y plus 4. That's not going to give you this middle term of 4y. It's going to give you an 8y. So be careful. Don't waste your time. So now, don't forget though, that's not your answer to the original problem. That right here is the answer to this. But the original problem had this. That's where you took out the GCF of 2y. So the answer is going to be 2y times this. So y minus 4 times y squared plus 4y plus 16. All right, so that's number 5. So you get number 5, you're going to get 2y times y minus 4 times y squared plus 4y plus 16. Okay, number 6. All right, so number 6, you have, let's see, 16y squared plus 56y plus 49. Okay, so let's see, the GCF here is still 1. So I'm going to go directly to the two binomials. And let's just go ahead and, I mean, there are many possibilities. There are several possibilities of 16y squared. There's 8y times 2y. There is 16y times 1y. There is 4y times 4y. So let's just go ahead and try 4y and 4y for right now. If that doesn't work, we'll try something else. Remember, this is trial and error. Now remember, the last sign is positive, so these signs in here are going to be the same, and they're going to be that middle sign. So both of these have to be 4y plus 4y plus. Alright, now 49. So there's several possibilities. There's 7 times 7 and 49 times 1. Let's just try 7 times 7. Alright, so notice when the two binomials I have are exactly the same, but always check your answer. FOIL it out. 4y times 4y is 16y squared. That's what I wanted. The last, a positive 7 times a positive 7 is 49. Now let's check to see if we get that middle term. The outer is 28y, positive. The inner is a positive 28y. 28y and another 28y is 56y. So there's our answer. Now you could also write this as, since these are the same binomials and they're being multiplied they're multiplied together, you get 4y plus 7 squared. So those are two different ways of writing this answer. So number 6, you're going to get number 6, you're going to get 4y plus 7 times 4y plus 7, or 4y plus 7 squared. All right, number 7. So number 7, you have 2y squared minus 16y plus 32. 2y squared minus 16y plus 32. So if you look at this, I can factor out a 2. So make sure you do that. So you got to factor completely. So you're factoring here, so you got to make sure you follow the steps. So you factor completely. So the first thing you had to do was factor out that GCF. So when I factor out the 2, I get y squared minus 8y plus 16. Alright, now see if you can factor this trinomial. And you can. You're going to get, let's see, y, 4 and 4. So 4 and 4 will work. The last sign's positive. These signs in here have to be the same, and they have to be this middle sign. And they have to be the middle sign because when you do the outer, think about this, when you do the outer, a negative 4y and a negative 4y will give me a negative 8y. All right, and again, the other way you can write the answer is 2 times y minus 4 squared. All right, so that's answer number 7. That's number 7. And so you're going to get 2 times y minus 4 times y minus 4, or 2 times y minus 4 squared. Okay, number 8, you have this. Number 8, you have 8x squared minus 28x minus 16. So again, the GCF is 4 in this case. The GCF is 4, so I'm going to factor out the 4, and I get 4 times 2x squared minus 7x minus 4. Alright, now again, let's see, just like we did this one, just like we did number 7, right here, you saw if you could factor this. Let's see if I can factor this trinomial. So I'm going to get 4 times, and then your two binomials. So the only possibility for 2x squared is 2x and x, so I have to put that there. And for 4, if you think about it, there are two possibilities for 4. Now, although this is negative 4, remember we're looking at the absolute value of it. So the absolute value of 4, there are two possibilities. There's 4 times 1, and then there's 2 times 2. Now you know you're not going to use this, because if you got to put a one of these 2's goes in the first parenthesis, the other 2 goes in the other. So if you put a 2 here, see what if you can visualize this, that means that this factor, you can factor out a 2, which meant that right here, all of these are divisible by 2, and they're not because of this 7. Alright, so you know you're not going to use the 2 and the 2. You know you're not going to use that. So let's use the 4 and the 1. Now remember, just think about this. You're not going to put the 4 here because I can factor out a 2. And this is not divisible by 2. So you have to put the 4 here. So 4 is going to go here. 1 is going to go here. The last sign's negative, so that means these signs are different. So if you think about this, the outer is 8x, the inner is 1x, and the larger of these will take this middle sign. So 8x has to be negative, 1x has to be positive, and when I add them up, a negative 8x and a positive 1x is a negative 7x, which is what you wanted. You wanted that middle term to be a negative 7x. So the only way you can get this to be a negative 8x is if this was a subtraction right here. So this factor becomes x minus 4. And the only way that you can get a positive 1x if you write this as 2x plus 1. So this is your answer right here. So number 8, you're going to get 4. So you're going to get 4 times 2x plus 1 times x minus 4. All right, number 9. Number 9, you have 6a squared minus 7a minus 10. Here the GCF is 1, so I'm going to go directly to two binomials. And again, try something that doesn't work, you try something else. So you're just using trial and error. So for that one, again, if you try 8a and 2a, just try it, 8a and 2a. And for 10, if you try, let's say 5 and 2, there are only two possibilities for 10. Now, although this is negative 10, remember, we're just looking at absolute value for right now. So absolute value of negative 10, because this term is really a negative 10. It's not 10, it's a negative 10. But look at the absolute value, so which is just 10. So when you look at 10, you have 5 times 2, and you have 10 times 1. So let's just go ahead and try the 5 and 2. So if I put, and now remember, you can't put the 2 here, so you know that definitely is not going to be a 2 here, because you could factor out a 2, which meant all these are divisible by 2, and it's not, because it is 7. So you know you're going to have to put the 2 here and the 5 there. But then if you look at the outer and the inner, you're going to know it's not going to work, because the outer, see this right here is 15a, and this right here is 4a. And remember, the last sign's negative, so that means these signs are different, so the larger of these will take this middle sign, and the smaller one will be the positive one in this case. But when you add them up, you get negative 11a, and that's not what you wanted. You wanted a negative 7a. So what we're going to do then, so this didn't work. So what we're going to do then is use, instead of 3a and 2a, let's just use 6a and 1a. So 6a and a. And still, let's use 5 and 2. So you know you're not going to put the 2 here. Always think about this. If you put the 2 here, right here, you can factor out a 2. And you know you can't, because the 7 is not divisible by 2. So you know you're going to have to put the 5 here and the 2 here. And again, let's check. Look at the outer. So far I have a 12a and a 5a. So 6a times 2 is 12a. 5 times a is 5a. And remember, the last sign's negative. Always remember your sign rules. The last sign's negative. That means these signs in here are different. So the large of these will take the middle sign. So that means negative 12a is, 12a is negative, and 5a is positive. And when you add them up, you are going to get a negative 7a, which is what you wanted. Negative 7a. So the only way you can get a negative 12a here is if you write this as a minus 2. And the only way you can get a positive 5a is if you write this as 6a plus 5. All right, and so there's your answer. So number 9, you're going to get 6a plus 5. So 6a plus 5 times, so 6a plus 5 times a minus 2. And then finally, number 10. Number 10, you have, let's see, you have y cubed minus y squared plus 2y minus 2. Okay, so notice you have 4 terms. You're going to do this by grouping. So let's group the first 2 and the last 2. So if I group the first 2, I'm going to get a GCF here is y squared. So I'm going to get y squared times y minus 1. Because y squared times y is y cubed. Y times a negative 1 is a negative y squared. Plus over here, I'm going to factor out a 2. And you're going to get y minus 1. Because 2 times y is 2y. 2 times a negative 1 is a negative 2. And then from these two groups, you see I have a y minus 1 in common. So I'm going to factor out the y minus 1, and I'm left with, so when I factor out the y minus 1, I'm left with y squared, and then plus 2. Alright, and so there's your answer. So number 10, you're going to get y minus 1 times y squared plus 2. Okay, so that's the key to the factoring, chapter 6, part A.